Welcome, round 10, Spain, Circuit de Catalunya, the ultimate test for the designers, this one really, isn't it? Have they done the job that the numbers and all that says they should have? But last time out we got some cracking racing here, didn't we? It's a 4.657 kilometer circuit, 14 turns, 2 DRS zones, down into turn 8, turn 10, down into turn 1, where we got a lot of action last time out. 66 laps for the race, and after the street circuits we finally head to a traditional race circuit. And the big question here is, have McLaren and Ferrari really done the job that we thought they've done? It's the acid test for the pair of them, hasn't it? This circuit just talks Red Bull. It really works to their strengths. Max Verstappen last time out ran away with it, 20 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton, the surprise second for Mercedes, and Russell third. It was 2-3 for Mercedes, and they really found something here that weekend, or it was really just a one-off, so we could expect another strong Mercedes here. Lewis Hamilton and Norris touched early on, didn't they? And that it was a shame because we lost out on the battle between them two. It would have been great to see. Carlos Sainz was up into second place in qualifying, but their race pace just wasn't great. He got robbed by George Russell from the podium in the end, and then Perez later on. It was a poor weekend for Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez, and they'll be hoping for much better out this time out. But we had plenty of overtaking down into turn 1, which should help for this weekend also in terms of strategy calls. Now normally it's a 2-stop strategy. Now because of the amount of overtaking we've seen last time out, we could see teams try the 3-stop with sort of overtaking now possible, and the fresher tyres could really do the magic for you late on. So who will throw the mix in there? The tyre talk now, Pirelli are bringing the hardest in the range, the C1 for the hards, the C2 for the mediums, and the C3 for the softs. My predictions, it's a difficult one, but I am expecting a pole position for Max Verstappen, and I do predict a strong weekend for the Ferrari as well. But Carlos Sainz taking second place in his home race, he normally brings something extra here, doesn't he? And I'm going for another strong weekend for Mercedes, a third place, picking up from a strong Canada. I know that the green track really probably helped them an awful lot here, but last time out they pulled off a surprise, and I'm expecting something similar here. And Lewis Hamilton finally out qualifying George Russell. I can just feel it happening. He was close last time out, wasn't he? Or it was closer to him to it happening. For the race though, I'm going for a Max Verstappen win. I think they will still have the edge, but I do think it'll be a lot closer, and I'm thinking it'll be second place for Carlos Sainz and a third for Ferrari. So they're going to come back with a vengeance. They've had their one poor race weekend in Canada, and I'm expecting him to fight back. So a good weekend prediction for me is for Ferrari, a 2-3. I think that would really do well after a horrible Canada. I'm predicting a bad weekend for McLaren. I just, no real reason here, just vibes really. I just don't think they would go as well as Ferrari, and I think the Ferraris will be the ones fighting with Red Bull and Max for the win. Now let's take a look at the Constructor Drivers' Championships. Max Verstappen leads the way, 194 points. Charles Leclerc now behind, 56 points. He closed that gap after Monaco, didn't he? 138 for him. Lando Norris just 7 points now behind Charles Leclerc, so that's getting tight up in that fight there, isn't it, for second. He's on 131 points. Carlos Sainz on 108 points, 23 points back. Both him and Perez scoring no points last time out, so Perez still on 107, 1 point behind Carlos Sainz. Sixth place, Oscar Piastri caught up on the pair of the two ahead of him, isn't he? He's now 26 points behind Sergio Perez. George Russell just 12 behind Piastri with a strong weekend last time out, 69 points. Lewis Hamilton 55 points, just 14 behind George Russell now. Alonso 14 behind Hamilton on 41 points, and 10th place Yuki Tsunoda on 22 points. He dropped out, lost a few points to Fernando Alonso last time out. And in constructors, it's the big one, isn't it? The challenge for Ferraris, they were so close after Monaco, just 24 points behind. Red Bull on 301, Ferrari are now 252, 49 points behind. It doubled that gap did Red Bull last time out. A strong weekend for them. McLaren have closed the gap significantly, and the big gainers from Canada, they closed up 28 points on Ferrari, and they're now 212, just 40 points behind. Mercedes back 88 points, that stayed the same from them and McLaren. 124 points now for Mercedes in 4th place, and Aston Martin round up the top 5, 58 points, 66 behind Mercedes. Now it's looking like that battle for second is getting closer. McLaren really in the hunt, so it looks like them two could well take the fight to potentially even Red Bull if we still can see Sergio Perez doing poorly, and it's a big weekend for him really. He needs a good performance, doesn't he? He's had a couple of stinkers now, and he can't let this momentum just build and carry on to being poor for the remaining of the season. Red Bull really do need him to step up now. It's a home race for Carlos Sainz. It's the last we'll see of him in the Ferrari red at his home race. But I do expect him to go out with a bang there. And the home race for Fernando Alonso also, and he normally does pull something out the bag. He was back in Canada, wasn't he, after a couple of poor races where he'd been outshone by Stroll, which was a massive surprise. But I do expect him to bounce back this weekend. I cannot wait for the action to get going, because we got a brilliant race last time out, didn't we? Unusual for what we normally saw in Spain, but we got some really good overtaking and racing, and let's hope for more of the same this time out. But there we have it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always, and I'll see you next time.